I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and this is Genesis Does. Imagine, if you will, for a moment, that instead of being an indie darling of the 2010s, Golf Story was a game released in the 1990s exclusively on the Sega Mega Drive. Now, further compound that by imagining that the plot of this version of Golf Story would be a mad scientist is kidnapping female golfers in an attempt to take over the world. Then you have the plot of Battle Golfer Yui, which could be said to be one of the strangest games we've ever played here on Genesis Does, but I think we played a lot of strange games, so maybe not the strangest ever, but certainly somewhere up there in the top 10. And this opening plot that you're watching should give you a pretty good indication of what I'm talking about. I fired this up thinking it would be some sort of golf game with maybe some sort of role-playing element to it. I didn't expect this, and then I looked it up on Wikipedia and found out, oh, yeah, this is really insane. This is more than just competitive, fast-paced golf. Like, Battle Golfer Yui makes you think you're going head-to-head playing, per stroke, per match, per hole. But no, you are really battling here. You are battling the forces of evil with a machine gun in your hands and a half-dressed woman behind you. This is really battle golf. Wow. I can think of about 100 reasons this game would have never been localized for the West, just based on the last cutscene alone. But if it's going to be a very plot-driven role-playing game entirely in Japanese, how am I even going to play Battle Golfer Yui without a patch? I sat there and pondered this for a moment, but then when the cutscenes were over and it came up to the main menu, it offered me two options: story mode or golf mode. Yes. Okay, I'll take the match play mode, thank you very much. Let's play some golf. I don't think I'll get very far in the other mode, and I'm not even sure I want to. Not just because it's beyond insane, but because it scores very poorly when you read the reviews that do exist, and there aren't many, but one gave it a score of 17 out of 40 and called it not good. So I guess either on the standard of a role-playing game or a golf game or any combination of the two, the story mode of Battle Golfer Yui isn't that great. Then again, it could just be so bad it's campy and fun. And I can't say that I totally hated the golf-only mode that it offered, because I can see, even without a patch, that all of the basic elements of a golf game that you would want on a home console are there. You don't even have to translate anything here. You hit the very first option at the top, and it lets you select your club, and then if you scroll over to the right, once you select your club, it says go, and that's when you can hit the ball, you aim it, you use the power bar to hit it as hard as you want to. I've never been able to get it perfectly timed all the way to the top of the bar, but then with these holes, I think you would overshoot most of the greens if you did go to the full top of the bar anyway, so that's, I guess, my only big complaint about playing the golf mode of Battle Golfer Yui is the power gauge is very difficult to control. You can't get it all the way to the top, and you can't get it all the way to the bottom, so you either undershoot or overshoot most of the times that you're aiming for something. If there was a way to slow it down or finesse it a little more, I could appreciate it a little better. I mean, yeah, it's kind of nutty that this golf hole is on a baseball diamond, but some of the other ones you play are perfectly normal golf course holes, and the only problem is that you just don't have enough control over the power of your shot. I think one way to solve this problem, this is just me spitballing as I do this voiceover, but one way to solve it would be show you the distance the ball would travel based on your club selection. Like, if you select a different club and it shows the maximum possible with the full power bar that you could reach, then you might select a different club and go for the full power of that. Another way they could do it is to give you an indicator of yards, like on the power bar, if it said like, you hit this at this strength, it's 50 yards, you hit this at this strength, it's 100 yards, so on and so forth, then you could go for that specific bar as it's moving up and down, and that would be hitting it the distance that you wanted. Or it could even, if they were skilled enough to program in this feature, it could auto-select on the power bar the distance that you should go for. So you wouldn't even have to number it individually for each different range. It could put on the power bar how far away you are from the hole. Like, aim for this spot on the power bar because that's how far you need to hit it to reach the hole. That would have worked. Any of those solutions would have been better than the way it controls here. And I don't know if that could be the reasons for the low scores, or again, it could be the totally insane plot of the game, mixing golf with a mad scientist. I can't translate the Japanese in the review, so I'll take their word for it when they say it's not good. It certainly is interesting, though. I have to give it that. Battle Golfer Yui stands out among Japanese Mega Drive games I've played on Genesis does. There's nothing quite like it. Again, Golf Story was the only thing I could think of. So maybe this can be considered a precursor to Golf Story, but Golf Story does every part of this in so much easier and more enjoyable of a fashion. It's so much easier to play the golf parts. It's so much easier to enjoy the role-playing parts. Even if it was in Japanese, I think it would probably be more enjoyable. I don't know if they localized Golf Story for Japan. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I'm not an expert on that subject. I do know I would rather play GALF Golf, the game that they spun off from Golf Story and released on its own physical cartridge for Nintendo. I would rather play that than play this version of golf on Battle Golfer Yui. It could be better. If somebody could hack it and program in the kind of features I was talking about, that would be great. Another one that I would add if I was adding things, as long as we're spitballing here, an easier way to read the greens, because there's clearly some uphill, downhill, and curve to these greens, but either that's not included in these menus or I don't know how to access these menus. I can't figure it out because I try to hit the ball hard enough to roll in the hole and it always seems to curve left or curve right. So you've got to be able to read the green some way. And they don't put anything on the screen that indicates it. Like in some of these old school golf games, if you need to read the green, there will be arrows on the green. Like it'll show you it's rolling to the right here because the arrow will point to the right, or it's rolling downhill because there's an arrow up that's pointing away from the cup. So you know to aim in a specific direction and use a specific amount of power based on the curves of the green thanks to the arrows on the screen. There's none of that here. So your guess is as good as mine. And only I can think if there's an English patch, and Ryan Taylor's probably already looking at romhacking.net as I speak. If there's an English patch, maybe there's an option, a sub-menu option that lets you read the green. But I think they could have just put it on the green in the visual display. It's already a top-down view to begin with, so why would you even need to change the perspective in a sub-menu? You could just put it on the screen. We're already not in the realm of reality here. We're playing golf from a helicopter. Like you'd want to play it any other way, really. I mean, I don't think I want to play from a first-person perspective in any golf game ever, but I'm just saying, if it's already not real, why not go further into unreality and show you the things that you need to know instead of making you guess blindly and hope that you can putt it in and you end up getting a triple bogey because you can't sink a 2-foot putt because the green is sloped that severely. Even some topographical data, like if it had valleys and hills in the display, like if it showed you that the green wasn't just flat and even all the way across, then you could at least sort of read the lie of the green and know whether you're hitting it too hard or not hard enough, or aiming it in the right direction to follow the curve of the lie of the green. And there's just no topographical data on the screen whatsoever. So you're completely bereft of any useful data that can help you improve your tap in and your short game, as they say in golf. You know, the long game is when you drive it to go all the way to the hole. The short game is when you're at the actual cup trying to putt it in. And for me, I'm definitely better at the long game than the short game in Battle Golfer Yui, because I can at least drive it, not necessarily with as much finesse as I would like given the power bar, but the short game absolutely stinks on here without being able to read the damn greens. Ay, 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 ay. Well, Battle Golfer Yui. It exists. It is a thing. It got 17 out of 40 from Famitsu or whatever Japanese magazine it was that reviewed it, and I think it deserved it. But as a matter of curiosity, load this one up on an EverDrive or fire it up in an emulator, mess around with it for a little bit, maybe even find an English language patch. Ryan will probably tell me that one is available, and then I will go back and try that story mode and see if it's just as campy as the opening movie cinematic makes me believe it is. I'm sure it is. I just don't know if this is the kind of thing that you should go out and spend your hard-earned money to import, or if you live in Japan, go to Super Potato and buy a loose or complete copy of. I just don't know that unless you're trying to complete a Mega Drive collection, that this can be considered a must-own title. It's a curiosity. It's a novelty. It will amuse you for a short amount of time, and then you'll want to play something much better. There are better golf games on Genesis. There are better golf games on Mega Drive. There are better games, period, on either console. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. This has been Genesis Does. We have new episodes every Thursday. Come back and see us again, and come back for new content daily. Bye for now.